There now remains for me to relate to you the story of my sixth brother, whose name was Shakabak. Like the rest of us, he inherited 100 silver drachmas from our father, which he thought was a large fortune, but through ill luck he soon lost it all, and was driven to beg. As he had a smooth tongue and good manners, he really did well in his new profession, and he devoted himself specifically to making friends with the servants in big houses so as to gain access to their masters. One day he was passing a splendid mansion, with a crowd of servants lounging in the courtyard. He thought that from the appearance of the house it might yield him a rich harvest, so he entered and inquired to whom it belonged. "My good man, where do you come from?" replied the servant. "Can't you see for yourself that it can only belong to someone famed for the liberality and generosity?" My brother, hearing this, asked the porters, of whom there were several, if they would give him alms. They did not refuse, but told him politely to go in and speak to the master himself. My brother thanked them for their courtesy and entered the building, which was so large that it took him some time to reach the apartments of the master. At last, in a room richly decorated with paintings, he saw an old man with a long white beard, sitting on a sofa, who received him with such kindness that my brother was emboldened to make his petition. "My lord," he said, "you behold in me a poor man who only lives by the help of persons as rich and generous as you." Before he could proceed further, he was stopped by astonishment shown by the master. "Is it possible," he cried, "that while I am in Baghdad, a man like you should be starving? That is a state of things that must at once be put an end to. Never shall it be said that I have abandoned you, and I am sure that you, on your part, will never abandon me." "My lord," answered my brother, "I swear that I have not broken my fast this whole day." "What, you are dying of hunger?" exclaimed the master. "Here, slave, bring water, that we may wash our hands before meat." No slave appeared, but my brother remarked that the master did not fail to rub his hands as if the water had been poured over them. Then he said to my brother, "Why don't you wash your hands too?" And Shakabak, supposing that it was a joke on the part of the master, though he could see none himself, drew near and imitated his motion. When the master had done rubbing his hands, he raised his voice and cried, "Set food before us at once. We are very hungry." No food was brought, but the master pretended to help himself from a dish, and carry a morsel to his mouth, saying as he did so, "Eat, my friend, eat, I entreat. Help yourself as freely as if you were at home. For a starving man, you seem to have a very small appetite." "Excuse me, my lord," replied Shakabak, imitating his gestures as before. I really am not losing time, and I do full justice to the repast." "How do you like this bread?" asked the master. "I find it particularly good myself." "Oh, my lord," answered my brother, who beheld neither meat nor bread, "never have I tasted anything so delicious." After ordering a variety of dishes, which never came, to be placed on the table and discussing the merits of each one, the master began to laugh, and embraced him heartily. "I have long been seeking," he exclaimed, "a man of your description, and henceforth my house shall be yours. You have had the good grace to fall in with my humor, and to pretend to eat when nothing was there. Now you shall be rewarded with a really good supper." Then he clapped his hands, and all the dishes were brought that they had tasted in imagination before and during the repast. As slaves sang and played on various instruments, all the while Shakabak was treated by the master as a familiar friend, and dressed in the garment out of his own wardrobe.